Democrats. Today is Monday, December 21st, winter solstice. How exciting is that? Other thing that's exciting is that we are 30 days. Today is December 21st. We only have until January 21st before we get to inaugurate a new president, and we get to start on our new path of just running our country as a democracy again, and running our country with a plan, and having a real plan to address COVID. So can't wait. Super excited. Had kind of a rough weekend. I'm just going to share with y'all. Had a rough weekend. I got all these calls about the lawlessness of the Republicans in our state, and it's hard to deal with just because I'm in Oklahoma, and I wish that folks would act right based on the job that they're elected to do. And I wish there was something that we could do. And the only thing that we can do is make sure that we're electing Democrats to replace them. So one of the things that I got a call about this weekend is the governor's silly commercial inviting people to come to Oklahoma because we're open. Never mind that our COVID numbers are spiking. Never mind that we don't have a plan. Come on, join us. So I'm going to ask folks, don't come and join us. Give us a minute to get our COVID stuff under control. Zoom your loved ones, call your loved ones, FaceTime, Duo, whatever you have to do. Right now is just not the time to come here. Makes me sad. I haven't seen my family in 10 months, but it's what we have to do in order to be able to open up for real. Another thing that Republicans are doing that's driving me a little nuts. Later, in a very few seconds, I'm going to be bringing on a candidate for State Senate District 22, which is the seat that Stephanie Weiss vacated, and it's a special election. And there were two Republicans that filed for the seat, knowing that they should not have. Two Republicans who knew that they did not live in the district filed to run for this office. They knew. Let me tell you how much I know that they knew. One of them was represented by the Republican by the lawyer who was the lawyer for the Republican Party in Oklahoma. He knew, and he stood there and argued for participation for somebody who was not legitimate to be able to participate. Crazy town. So let's return to law and order. Let's do things the right way. And so one of the Democrat candidates who are vying for this position is Dylan Billings. And he has agreed to join me today. And I want to introduce you to Dylan. Dylan is a professor of political science. He also studied economics, and he wants to take that education and help Oklahomans. So welcome, Dylan.
Hey, how are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Just getting ready for Christmas.
So first of all, I want to say thank you for stepping up, putting your name on the ballot, because we know that it takes time, money, and energy to run for office. And I want to say thank you for stepping up.
Yeah, of course. I mean, elections like these are critical, and we can't just let them slip by. We have to take advantage of every chance that we have to fight for our state and to continue to make sure that our children have the same opportunities that we had growing up.
So when you say what we have to do, tell me what your focus, what your platform is. Tell me
Sure.
What it is that you're running for.
Sure. So, I mean, it's no secret that here in Oklahoma, we have had many issues recently regarding funding of education. And so I think that it's time that we shift our focus and fund our public education. We've already made some strides. We're no longer the worst country in the state when it comes to teacher pay, but we are the worst country in the state when it comes to per pupil funding, which means that our classrooms are severely underfunded. I also believe that it's time that we fight for better healthcare for our state. As I'm sure you're aware, our governor wants to not listen to the will of the people and not expand Medicaid like the voters voted to do so. And instead, he wants to basically privatize Medicaid, and we can't let that happen because we know it leads to worse care over the long run. And I'm also fighting for our wages. Wages in Oklahoma have been remarkably stagnant for decades. And there's a lot we can do. There's a lot of investments we can make in human capital, investing in the workers of Oklahoma, increasing their bargaining position, things like that we can do to make sure that they have the resources necessary to survive, especially right now with COVID and everything just being so out of whack. It's important that we make sure that our workers who are struggling the most are taken care of.
Well, our workers who are struggling the most shouldn't be struggling the most, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and it's not just the workers that are struggling, it's their entire families, right? I mean, we are the richest nation on earth, and yet 25% of our children in the state of Oklahoma are suffering from hunger. Why are we okay with that? Why are we just letting that happen? And I know a lot of people will say, well, if their parents would just work harder. Like, that's a joke. It's a farce. It's not how reality works. I mean, I want people to pull themselves up by the bootstrap, sure, but you got to give them a pair of boots to do so first, right? I mean, how are they going to work their way towards anything if they don't have any resources?
So this is not about your campaign, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on all of the economist advice for the people, what they should do with this $600.
I mean, first of all, $600, this is a federal issue and not really a state issue, but $600 is a bit of a joke. It's almost like they're laughing in our faces, trying to tell us that this is going to make all the problems and all the issues that we have go away. Like, they're like basically paying us $600 to just forget that they ignored that the pandemic existed for several months. But I mean, it's not going to make a huge dent, to be honest. People are going to use it to pay their rent, pay their bills, put food on the table. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, unfortunately.
That $600 is spent already.
It's gone. It's gone. It was spent months ago, honestly, if we're being truthful.
They're just going to put it on some bill that they've been stretching out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be, I read an article that said that they should use $600 to shore up their retirement and savings accounts and then pay off their high interest debt.
Yeah. First of all, do they have retirement accounts? Like, how many of these people who are struggling actually have retirement accounts to begin with? We ignored a pandemic for months at a time. That money's gone, right? That money that they had set aside to retire is gone. So, it's just unreasonable to think that this is going to make any significant difference in people's lives.
So you live in SD 22. Do you live in the Edmond part? Do you live in the Yukon part? Which part do you live in?
I live in the Edmond part. I actually have grown up in Edmond my entire life. My kids actually go to the same elementary school that I went to whenever I was in elementary school. I like it up here. It's nice. A lot of things that can be done to make it a little bit better in Edmond as well, but it was a good place to grow up.
Awesome. So what do you think that the Edmond constituents are looking for in a state senator?
I mean, absolutely. Just from the people that we've talked to right now, is somebody who's going to protect the public education system that we have here. Public education is unfortunately always one of the first targets whenever it comes to budgetary struggles, and we're going to face budgetary struggles again in this next session. So they're looking for someone who's going to stand up for their kids, basically, because we have a lot of young parents in this part of Edmond. This is a very young part of Edmond. A lot of these houses were built in the last 10, 15, 20 years, unlike the further east sides of town, which are a bit older. So we have a lot of school children that are in this district.
Okay. And so you think education is the big deal there?
I know education is the big deal there, just from conversation. We've already had conversations with hundreds of voters in the Edmond area. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people believe that Edmond is just this pocket of Republican votes, but there are a lot of Democrats up here as well. I mean, just like the rest of the nation, our suburbs are waking up to the fact that Democratic candidates are the ones who are going to care about their futures. And so when I talk to people out here, the only thing they bring up most of the time is education.
Okay. So if someone wanted to volunteer for your campaign or ask more questions, tell them where they could go.
So we do have a sign-up page on our website, dylanbillings.com. You can go there, and there's a sign-up page where you can sign up to volunteer. We have people that are making phone calls. We have people that are sending out text messages. Because of COVID, we are not engaging in much face-to-face canvassing just to protect our volunteers and the voters. but we are leaving information with voters, and so people can sign up to do that as well. There's no shortage of opportunities.
Okay.
And if we're going to win this election, we need volunteers. Special elections like these really come down to whether or not people know that there's an election. And what I have found is that about 90% of the people we've talked to don't know that there's an election coming up. So we need to contact these voters. We need to let them know that there's an election. We also need to let people know, and this goes for every election in the entire state, that you need to sign up for a new absentee ballot for the year 2021. Their 2020 request isn't going to carry over. So yeah, I need all the volunteers we can get.
So what I heard is you need volunteers.
Yep.
You need for folks to sign up for their absentee ballots right now.
Absolutely.
They need to go out there, sign it up so they know it's there.
On the Oklahoma voter portal, you can go on right now. And I don't care if you're in Senate District 22, if you're a Democrat in the state of Oklahoma, go on right now to Oklahoma voter portal and sign up for your absentee ballots. Any district, state Senate district, any House district, city count, I don't care. Sign up for your absentee ballot right now. If you're watching this, I know you have the time to do it.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because that is a big deal. We need folks right now to be thinking about elections, and that's a way. And if somehow one slips past you, it won't slip past you if you're already registered for your absentee ballot.
Exactly.
They mail you an absentee ballot, and they mail it in enough time that you can do some research and find out what you need to know.
Yeah. And the thing is, with these smaller elections, Oklahoma has, unfortunately, and I hate this as a political scientist, but we have awful voter participation in our state. People are not getting out to vote. And I think that's because for decades, they have been conditioned to think that their votes do not matter. That is not true at all. Your vote absolutely matters. And I want you to go online and look up the results for some of these previous special elections. And you'll see how close they are, even in districts that we thought were deep red. And you'll see that your vote matters. These elections come down to 1, 5, 100 votes sometimes. Your vote is important.
Yeah, we had, I think it was 6 special elections in 2017, and we won 5 out of 6.
Yep.
We do very well with special elections because it's really all about turnout. It's about getting your message out there and reminding people to show up. And because it's we're in COVID times, reminding people to turn in their absentee ballots. We just got to make sure that Democrats show up.
Exactly. And there are Democrats there. I know that people might think that this is not a seat that we should be competing in, but I guarantee you, I 100% guarantee you that if we get people out and we get the people that voted absentee in 2020 to vote again, we're going to win this seat, and we're going to fight for our schools. We're going to fight for our healthcare. We're going to fight for our wages, and we're not going to stop.
Awesome. And one thing I want to add, we're going to fight for our democracy, and we're going to fight for morality. And the fact that they tried to run folks who weren't even eligible is disgusting to me. And I think that is all the more reason why we have to make sure a Democrat gets that seat.
Absolutely.
We need a Democrat to get that seat because we need to know that it's someone who believes in democracy, who believes in taking care of our democracy.
And, if we don't stand up right now and stop the gerrymandering that they're trying to do, it's just going to get worse and worse because they're just going to be able to run more and more extreme candidates. So we got to stop the gerrymandering as well. But I can't do that without the support of the people watching. So if you have $5, $10, $20, $100 to help support our campaign, every $5 helps us reach another 80 voters. And so that's going to be the key to winning this election. Absolutely.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and joining us. And your primary isn't until February 9th. I hope you'll come and join me again as we get closer, because
Anytime.
Now it's about persuasion. Later, it'll be about GLTV, and we got to make sure that we focus on that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, no matter who wins the primary, we have to win this seat.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you. All righty. So that's one of our candidates who are running for State Senate District 22. I will be here again tomorrow at 4:15 with Molly Uten, who is also running for that seat. It is important that you check in and hear and support those who are running and pick who you want to run for that seat. Please join Scott Hamilton tonight on the Hamilton Report. I'm not real sure. Oh, well, he'll be joined by Dr. Brian Stice discussing how we can all take care of our mental health. And I mentioned that before, and it's, during the holiday season, it's super important. And this year, I think it's probably a little more important because it's the holiday season right after a crazy election while a current president is being crazy. And so we all have to take care of ourselves. So please check in on our Facebook page, OK Democrats, or our YouTube page, OK Democrats. Check out Scott Hamilton as he's joined by Dr. Bice and learn how you can engage in self-care. I will see you tomorrow at 4:15. Thanks so much for joining, and sharing is caring.